What if the answer to not having a separate bedroom is not moving, not renovating, and not tearing apart the whole apartment, but simply placing divider screens in the right way? That is what we are testing today. The goal is not just to hide a bed. The goal is to make one small room feel like it has an actual private bedroom behind it, while still keeping a real living room in front of it. If this works, the room gains privacy, structure, and a much stronger sense of dignity. If it fails, the apartment just ends up feeling cramped and fake. So the question is simple: would this actually work? This is the starting point, and this is the exact problem a lot of people live with. The bed is fully visible, the living area and sleeping area blur together, and the room feels like it is doing too many jobs without enough boundaries. Nothing is technically wrong with the furniture, but the space feels exposed. If someone walks in, the whole room is immediately revealed. There is very little privacy, very little zoning, and not much mental separation between rest and daily life. This is why so many people are interested in divider screens. They are trying to create not just a visual trick, but an emotional upgrade inside a room that feels too open. This first layout is the lightest intervention. The screens do not fully enclose the bed. They simply break the sightline enough to give the room some relief. That matters more than people think. Even a partial block can make a bed feel less exposed and make the sofa zone feel more like a living room, instead of a place that happens to sit next to a mattress. The strength of this setup is that it is easy, low risk, and still keeps the room visually open. The weakness is that it does not deliver full privacy. This works best for someone who wants just enough separation to calm the room down without making the apartment feel boxed in. Now the divider screens are working harder. Instead of lightly interrupting the room, they begin to define a true edge between one zone and another. The sleeping area feels more protected, and the living space has a stronger front-of-room identity. This is where divider screens start becoming practical rather than decorative. The big advantage here is psychological privacy. You are no longer staring directly at the bed from every angle, and the bed zone starts feeling like it belongs to a different function. The trade-off is that once privacy increases, openness decreases. So the key question becomes whether the new feeling of separation is worth the loss of visual breadth. This is the point where the setup starts to feel like a real bedroom nook. The screens are arranged in a way that gives the bed area stronger shape, stronger identity, and a more deliberate entrance. That is important because privacy is not only about blocking views. It is also about making a zone feel intentional. When a bed looks like it lives inside a defined pocket of the room, the entire apartment begins to read differently. Suddenly it feels less like one exposed multi-purpose room and more like a small home with structure. This layout is strong because it creates that bedroom feeling without construction. But it still depends on keeping enough open path and airflow around the divider. Not everybody needs a divider screen layout for the same reason. Some people need more privacy from a roommate. Some want better boundaries between a shared living area and a personal sleeping zone. Others are trying to keep a room livable without making one person feel pushed into the corner. That is why this layout matters. It shows a more balanced version, where the room still functions as a shared space, while the screened zone creates a stronger feeling of personal territory. This may not be the most dramatic transformation, but it is one of the most realistic. It respects circulation, it respects daily use, and it proves that separation does not have to mean isolation. Here the divider idea becomes even more practical. Instead of thinking only about one person hiding a bed, think about the way a small household actually lives. A couple may want a bedroom feeling without sacrificing the living room. A roommate setup may need one side of the room to feel more private. A parent may need a sleeping area that feels partially screened from the rest of the apartment. In this version, the divider screens help the room support multiple people more gracefully. That is the real value. They do not magically create square footage, but they can make limited square footage behave better. And for many households, that is the difference between stressful and workable. This layout pushes the concept closest to a temporary wall. The screens stand taller, cover more of the bed zone, and behave almost like a removable partition system. This is probably the strongest layout for privacy, especially if the main goal is to make the bedroom area feel hidden from the living room. It is also the clearest example of the upside and downside of divider screens. On the upside, the room suddenly gains a sense of architecture. On the downside, the divider becomes a major object in the room, and if it is placed badly, it can eat up flow, light, or openness. So the success of this version depends completely on proportion and placement. This is the biggest transformation in the set. Here, the divider system is no longer a side accessory. It is the core strategy that changes how the whole apartment reads. The living room feels more defined, the bed area feels more separate, and the entire room has a clearer front and back. This is the kind of result that makes people stop and say, wait, this is the same room? That is the power of layout when it is solving a real problem rather than just trying to look good. The reason this version works is not because it is fancy. It works because it answers the actual pressure point. How do you create privacy without losing the room? So would this actually work? Yes, if the divider screens are doing more than decorating the space. The best version is the one that makes the bedroom area feel genuinely separate, preserves a clean walking path, still lets the living room feel usable, and keeps the apartment from feeling visually crushed. That is why this final layout wins. It gives the strongest balance of privacy, livability, and believable daily function. It does not pretend the room became a two-bedroom apartment, but it does prove something important. With the right screen placement, a small open room can feel far more private, far more organized, and far more human. If you do not have an extra bedroom, that kind of layout change can matter a lot.